Out of Control, the 8th episode of NCIS Season 22, is an exaggerated example of a typical TV procedural storytelling device, connecting the week's case to a primary character's personal life in order to allow for a significant life growth or epiphany. When done well, the overlap should be hardly perceptible to the spectator. The remainder of the narrative revolves around Alden Parker's personal pain, which is obviously the main emphasis of this episode. When Navy officer Mason Winslow and his wife Ashley are the next targets, the term out of control describes a person breaking into people's cars in a kind of sophisticated carjacking scheme that goes fatal. Mason is subsequently discovered dead, and one of the carjackers is also found dead at the site, but Ashley manages to get away. For better or worse, the episode is mostly about Parker and his mental condition, even though the technology supports an amusing but unmemorable narrative. This episode's main focus is dissecting an incident from the Reef Madness NCIS Season 21 finale. Alden Parker had dreams of his mother and an enigmatic little girl named Lily as he was struggling to survive. In Season 22, Episode 8, Lily reappears several times, notably when she diverts Parker's attention while he's driving, almost leading him to crash the car while Parker, Nick Torres, and Jessica Knight are inside. Parker is at the center of the episode for the most part. Everyone is discussing his mental health as he is sort of receiving therapy from Dr. Grace Confalone. Because there are so many Parkers in this episode, Gary Cole is the one who puts forth the most effort. While the other actors are either advancing the week's case or responding to anything concerning Parker, he is the one who gets the most of the noteworthy sequences. In principle, that's not a terrible thing because Cole is one of those consistently reliable performers who can carry the majority of a 42-minute episode. In actuality, NCIS doesn't explore him sufficiently. A humorous reaction from Casey Hines and Jimmy Palmer rapidly overshadows what should be a climax scene in which an agitated Parker loses it while in NCIS. That little burst was probably intended to show the full extent of Parker's fury, but it would have been far more effective to let his wrath run its course. The remainder of NCIS's plots are occasionally undermined by its desire for comedy. The hacking aspect of Out of Control makes it entertaining, but the episode isn't very well written. This is one of those plots where the awesomeness and/or weirdness of technology is used to further the plot. There are many instances in screen time where people are discussing or using technology. Knight and Timothy McGee watching their car drive away after it has been hacked is the hour's most memorable sequence, and it is ultimately played mostly for comedic effect, even if it points the team in the direction of the true criminals. By the middle of the show, viewers will be able to determine who those criminals are in addition to using excessive hacking, as many TV crime dramas do. NCIS also has a fourth-act twist in which the actual criminal is someone who was initially shown to be entirely innocent. Ashley is found to have cheated on Lieutenant Winslow with Cliff, an apparently unlucky lawyer who just so happened to be an adept hacker and set up the attack using the hacker's equipment. Ashley was able to escape her marriage and the prenuptial agreement that went along with it by staging the entire affair. The two of them then planned other events to make it appear as though a criminal organization was behind it. If you take away the electronics, this is just another household drama. The fact that each of the guest roles is largely underdeveloped adds to the predictability, since viewers only see one scene between Ashley and Lieutenant Winslow prior to the opening titles. Their marital conflict amounts to a single argument about a dishwasher. Later, off-camera, his corpse is discovered about a mile from the crime scene, so near that it begs the question of why the neighborhood wasn't checked sooner. Ashley spends the entire hour in the hospital, so she just sobs and appears to be oblivious until the point where NCIS officers tell her, and the audience, what her grand scheme was. Cliff, her co-conspirator, is shown as a total moron in the one scene he had before getting accused. There is a balance between keeping the character mysterious and having them look completely dull, even if the NCIS writers are obviously attempting not to give away anything. And that's the main issue. None of these characters are intriguing, even once the truth is revealed. Another inadvertent flaw in NCIS Season 22, Episode 8 is that the other important characters don't have any really noteworthy sequences because of the emphasis on Parker. The program has been able to balance itself a bit better than it does here, even though one or two characters typically take center stage in any particular episode, such as the several hours that focus on Tony DiNozzo and Ziva David. Given that she was with Parker during Reef Madness, Knight receives second billing since she gets to worry for him. Parker notes how cliched the elevator situations have gotten, and the episode's best line occurs when she stops the elevator once again to ask about him. However, the fact that everyone else is only there to keep things moving can turn off viewers whose favorite character isn't Alden Parker. Laura San Giacomo makes a second cameo as Dr. Grace Confalone, who questions Parker about why his mother also showed up in his visions and tries to help him identify Lily. San Giacomo also spends a good deal of time on screen, but it's just the same old cliches of Grace wanting Parker to chat and Parker refusing to do so. Particularly awkward is the scene where Grace goes to Parker's house and asks him about Lily. The language is so leading that it seems like the writers were attempting to lengthen the situation by making Grace repeatedly ask Parker questions. Cole gives another solid performance as Alden Parker, and Out of Control is interesting enough with its wayward automobiles and cheesy gags about NCIS having their car stolen. However, the episode isn't one of the show's better plots, and it restricts the other actors by either giving them little to do or scenes that don't work, like the previously mentioned light-hearted conversation between Jimmy and Casey about Grace to persuade Parker to return and speak with her. In a lengthy network TV season, NCIS has performed better, but it's still enough to hold viewers' attention for another week.